Good morning, everybody. Fashionably late, as always, a few minutes, but here I am, Andy Nichols from Two Legs, here for the Sunday live show. Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday, and especially happy Mother's Day to all moms and grandmoms out there, all over the world, especially my mom. Hello, Brad. Hello, Tony. Hello, James. Hello, MVP. Hello, James Martinez, and hello, Lynn. Beautiful day here in the Northeast. We've had a lovely weekend after some terrible, just miserable weather, with more on the way. But it's a nice weekend here. Get outside, do some exploring. And yeah, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Every mom in Paul and Beatles land with our new format and our new comments. There we go. Good morning, Susan Gagney. Yes, James, you inspire. Well, you always inspire me, especially with these shirts. But the Wings Greatest one is it's a nice one right there with the wings. Yeah, you started. You're a trendsetter, Mr. Martinez. You are a trendsetter with these Paul shirts. Showed up to the fest rocking that Flowers in the Dirt, and I was like, gotta have it, gotta have it. So James is referencing our most recent episode, which was Desert Highland Discs. Thank you for that quick one. Our episodes have been quicker lately, if you haven't noticed, because we get our topic and we dish it out. And I think quicker shows are better for all. You know, in keeping track of the time for everybody. You know, we don't want to, unless we have a great guest on where we're going to dive in for an hour and a half or something. I think doing shows under an hour is fun because we get to the point, we move on. So yeah, Desert Island Discs was a fun one, and we wanted to just copy the format that the show was that Paul was on, picking the songs and a book and a luxury item. And there was a lot of great comments about my book choice, Lord of the Rings, which I was happy to see because that's a great one to take with you. Wings Greatest was the first time I owned Junior's Farm and Mull on an album, and back then that meant something. With the lovely direct from Liverpool mug. Love this one. It's not that big, but as it is in England and Italy especially, a cup of coffee is like this. So it's only us Americans that have to have a pail of tea or coffee. But I can get behind this one, even though it's a little smaller. It is a great one. Jack. Hello, Jack. Hey guys, any news? No news, buddy. All quiet on the Macca front. Mr. Ling from Dublin. A misconception about Lord of the Rings is that it's 3 books. It was always intended to be 1. Correct. Right, but they were released as separate books in various configurations since the 60s and on. I have the individual books, and I have one big volume of them all. 1 book to bind them all. So how has everything been going for you Macca Beatles people out there? What are the trends these days? What are you diving down into rabbit hole wise? Tony D, my Paul Desert Island songs, Band on the Run, Beautiful Night, Maybe I'm Amazed, Pipes of Peace, and Too Much Rain. Too Much Rain gets a lot of love. Rightly so. It's my buddy Kyle's one of his favorite songs. If you watched our second episode of Hands Across the Water. And some news on that as we get throughout the show here, as we kind of get through our comments and our agenda. And I have a few things to talk about today. I've got a customized Mother's Day Beatles and solo playlist. Hello, Tony. Andrew, don't call me that. That means I'm in trouble. Don't say that. A Rush kick at the moment. I've been a fan since 1980. This is what I was talking about last week, taking breaks from stuff. This past week, The Who announced their final tour. So I'm all jazzed up about that now because they're coming to New York in August. So, and tickets go on sale on Tuesday for pre-sale. So I am so excited to see what we can get best ticket wise. And Joan Borelli and I were messaging about packages and things like that. So that'll be very exciting. The song is over indeed. Jack, I have not read it yet, but I'm working on it. I'm reading like 3 books at the same time right now. I'm trying to finish J.R. Moore's book, Luca's book, and that book. So seriously, there's not enough time to read them all. But JR's book, I've noticed, I'm about halfway through it. It's not really a true Paul book. It's more of kind of and Owen would know this because I think Owen interviewed J.R. Moore's. It's more of kind of a contextual look at the 1990s music scene with Paul kind of interspersed a little bit into it. I haven't gotten to the anthology section yet of it, but so far what I've read, I'm just about halfway through it. It's not just about Paul in the 90s. There's a lot of discussion in that book about, Oasis and Blur and what the trends were in the 1990s. So those of you who have not read that book, that's really what it's about. But it's still a good read, and we're going to have them on. But I've got to finish that up. And Luca Perazzi's Ringo's book. Did anybody else get that? Yeah, see, Tony read it too. Tony's happy that West Ham beat the Manx. You didn't have a good season though, right? West Ham, aren't they like the bottom of the barrel right now? Lately, yeah, and I got your message, James. I like that idea. I think you even put it on Discord. But I think what you call it, flowers off the ground. If you kind of had the brainchild of those 2 albums and took the best of, I like that idea. We might have even done that as a show topic. I have to go back and look. But I love that idea. Keep those suggestions coming, man. We love them. We absolutely love them. Man, you could be the worst team ever to qualify for the Champions League. Christopher Hahn, hello, sir. Same time next year is my favorite Paul track but it didn't have it on CD because I was waiting for the Back to the Egg archive. I broke down and bought it yesterday, so the archive is sure to come out now. Yeah. Well, you only got that on the Put It There CD single and vinyl, a maxi single. Owen's clarifying this for me. Yes, it's basically contextual. Yes, that's kind of what I thought it was shaping up to be. JR has a wonderful way of skating around a style that is a stream of conscious. That's what I thought. Oh, our buddy Sam Wiles interviewed him. Haven't heard from Sam in a while. I did that show with him after the UK tour, but that was it. Sam Wiles did interview him. Okay. Well, I have an email chain going with him, but again, once I finish the book, we'll get him on. I have not read the book Reunion, but I've heard a lot about it. Tell me, Jack. Owen says, I didn't interview him, but reviewed the book for Beatle fan. JR is a lovely, lovely man. Thanks for letting me know. Susan, our resident copyright guru, says, I've decided to backtrack and get original SHM CDs for older albums to add to my collection since I've been getting the new issues. They're hard to find. Indeed, they are. They absolutely are. Which ones? Okay, it is fat. Okay, who wrote that book, Jack? Huh. Channel Russia. What? Oh, I don't. Okay. This is UK football talk. From 98. Wow. Okay. So yes, Gary Burr. Yes. That's my memory of that is Gary Burr did it, but I have not read it. It's just too much to read. Okay. I'm currently listening to McGear, the Great Lost Wings record. Yeah, people love that record or don't care for it. What say the Sunday fam on McGear? Tony, Jack, Jimmy, anybody, Tony, Susan is like, and I think my partner Tommy, he loves McGear. One or two tracks. I love the fact that Wings are on it, but Paul's not singing on it. It's great to have. It's like the Lost Wings album. If Paul was singing on all those songs, then it's a true Lost Wings album. That's kind of what I think. And Cherry Red did a great reissue of it. Thank you. I'm like, somebody please agree with me. See, with UK football, I watch it sometimes on the background, but when you're over there watching it live, it's such a different experience. It really is. You could keep talking because I've sometimes during the American football season, I'll go on a little bit about American football, and you guys are probably like, "What are you talking about? We don't know this stuff." So go right ahead. Jimmy says, "Hi Jimmy, thanks for being here today. I wish we would get some official news." Yeah, you're not going to right now. Oh, low blow. McGear is average like Pet Sounds. Well, Joe Mayo would be happy with you. Another one, masterpiece or one or two tracks that people only like. Pet Sounds is one of the best records of all time. You Still Believe in Me, Here Today. Not Paul's Here Today. The Beach Boys Here Today. Great deep cut on that record. Pet Sounds. Mono, stereo. I actually prefer the stereo remix of Pet Sounds. Smile. Well, I actually prefer Smile too, with Surf's Up on it. McGear, is that? No, that was that one. Let's see. Oh, Owen says he's interviewed Mike McCartney twice. He's wonderful. Looks like a great guy. I mean, are you surprised he's a McCartney? Yep. So the latest in-store display you see behind me above my sign there is the Once Upon a Long Ago. You might have saw that last week. And the in-store displays keep filling up the room here in the studio. And I've got one that came this past week that I am still assembling, which will go right there in front of that CD tower. You can probably, if you know, but you can probably guess what it is if you've been following along the show. But that's going to go right there. Probably for next week, you'll see that because it's still being assembled. And with that, we're going to be capped on space in here for in-store displays. I can't do any more. Maybe I'll put one on the ceiling and tilt the camera up so you can see that. Oh, it's fun, though. It's fun collecting that stuff. Susan says, Memory Was Full and Driving Rain are two of the older SHM CDs that are among the most difficult. Wow. Discogs, Susan? Compare the Carpenters and Wings harmonies. Very similar, period. Agree. Hi, Serge. Nice to see you here today on a Sunday. It's our buddy Serge, always sending us great info. Mother is so awesome. We'll get to that. P.S. Oh, no. Smiley Smile is crap. That album, that's a disgrace. That's what the bastard of what Smile should have been. I recently heard Denny's Holidays on that album. Yeah, another one. Like, a lot of people are just gravitating. Oh, my God, Holidays and McGear. Later for that shit. If Paul's singing, I'm in. I saw Pet Sounds live and it didn't make me love it more. Sunflower is better. Agree with that too. Sunflower might be the best Beach Boys album ever. I know in the UK, the Beach Boys were so much more revered than they were here in their native country. And I read somewhere that people in the UK equate Sunflower as their Sgt. Pepper, which I find very interesting and understand it. Great record. All I Want to Do is on that. Forever, Our Sweet Love, This Whole World. Awesome record. Of course he did. Mike Love, Not War. Well, I'll get to that, Jack. We'll get to that in a minute. We will get to that in a minute. No big copyright news except the newly reverted Goodbye, Get Back, and Don't Let Me Down have finally gotten listed on the MPL Communications website, which back in the day, if you remember, that was only Paul's online presence. There was no PaulMcCartney.com before the forums, before anything. You just went to MPLCommunications.com, and that was Paul's web presence in the late 90s and early aughts. I remember like looking it up, and that's where you'd see all his songs. And that's where I first discovered Once Upon a Long Ago and Back in My Feet. I'm like, what songs are these? Because they were listed alphabetically on the MPL Communications website. Early internet days. Sunflower is the greatest Beach Boys album and the one where Dennis truly got to shine. Yes, agree. Another great Andy. There was a small tribute to Oh Darling on that album. Well, what song is that, Jimmy? I think All I Want to Do is my favorite one on there. Oh, Susan got it on. Okay, you've tried them all. Looking for new and sealed ones. Okay. Tony says, I don't understand the logic of Holidays as an album. Later 50s song with with a drum machine on it, especially when Paul is there, who can play drums. Exactly. What's that other one? Ah Lane, which is how is that record? I've had no interest to dive into it, but Ah Lane would be one that if I was going to listen to Denny's solo stuff, maybe I'd listen to that record. Tony's reading Ken Mansfield's book now. He has good stories. That's the White Book, right? That's a great one too, recapping all of 1968. Yes, that was that 1971, 72 set. It's over there somewhere. Yeah. Feel Flows is what it was called, right? Yeah. Holidays does stink, but I would like to see a comprehensive remastered series of Denny solo stuff. Some of it's pretty good, especially the Wings outtakes, sure. Especially if Paul wrote them. Yeah, I got that one. The opening track on that record is fantastic. Ah Lane is not great, but no Paul made before he joined Wings. Interesting. Christian's here. Hi, Christian. Hi, Andy. Really enjoy your new installment of Hands Across the Water. Still have to watch your new episode of Two Legs. Yes. Well, thanks for watching and thanks for checking both out. I guess we can segue to that now. I'll get to the Mother's Day song playlist in a minute. Yep. Hands Across the Water news. We've dropped three episodes, and they've done all very well of late. Our subs are up, and we have a live show tomorrow at 6 p.m., 11 p.m. BST time. A live episode of Hands Across the Water, which was really looking forward to it. Our most recent one, the Beatles Battle of 1971, is up to 2.3K views and a lot of great comments and feedback on there. So thank you all for supporting that, and check that out tomorrow night if you'd like to check us. And if not, you can watch it on the replay. Dale, McGear took me 30 years to finally get it. All right, I will not give up on it then. Yes, the fans definitely win. Somebody had a great comment on our video too. They said the concert for Bangladesh didn't have the impact in the UK because they didn't really know about it other than the album coming out. And that makes total sense because back then you'd read a review of it in NME or Melody Maker and that would be it. So I could understand why UK fans might be a little they would have a tepid temperature with Bangladesh because it wasn't there. We're going to do a tier ranking thing. We've got, we're going to, those tier lists that you see for video games and all that. We're going to have a tier ranking. I think I have to talk to Tony and Kyle about it just to double check, but I think we're going to rank the best John period stuff. I think. Don't quote me on that. We have to firm it up, but we're going to do some kind of tier ranking thing with John's Beatles material. And if I've spoken out of turn, Kyle or Tony, correct me on that. But a live show, and that'll be tomorrow night. Catch up on the comments here. Jimmy. Oh, Deirdre. Great. That's a great track. Yeah. Has the same melody as the beginning of Oh Darling. Of course, according to Bruce Johnston, it was borrowed from the Beatles track. I have to re-listen to that with fresh ears now. Catch back up here. Okay. Yes. We're going to do a tier. Yeah. Probably for 2 hours tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. Stay tuned. So on this Mother's Day, if you were going to make a playlist of Beatles and solo inspired songs to reflect our moms or our grandmoms, what would you pick? I just literally jotted this down this morning just before we went live. It was before I went live. I came up with 11 tracks between Beatles songs, John, Paul, and George. And I've got one George, no Ringo in here. Jeffrey. Hello, hello. So if you think of it, think as we're going through here and think of 10 or 11 songs that you think make a great Mother's Day Beatles and solo playlist. So, by the way, has anybody heard the 70s band Middle of the Road? I have not. Okay. Mother's Day playlist. Okay. Now, this is a bit of a heavy one. but the song's called Mother. So how do you not include it? By John from Plastic Ono Band. I would put Mother on there. Sad song, but maybe just open it up, be done with it. Okay. Then I've got Mother's Nature's Son from the White Album. Easy. Your Mother Should Know for obvious reasons. Hey, Dad. See you later. See you later. Another one that I think definitely has maternal vibes to it would be Teddy Boy from the McCartney album. This is a story about a boy named Ted, and his mother said, Ted, be good. I think Teddy Boy is a great song for this kind of a playlist. Susan already said it, but I had it in my list as well. Mama's Little Girl, of course. And then I went with the one George song, because George's songs are tough, and you could read the lyrics, they could be interpreted about a significant other. But if you applied this to your mom, I think it works too. And I chose If Not For You from All Things Must Pass, the Bob Dylan song. Of course, If Not For You, I think you can apply those lyrics to your mom as well. And I'll get to it now because I see people chiming in there. Dad and Jeff both say it. Let It Be, Mother Mary. I mean, that could be the whole, you could end the album. You could end the playlist with Let It Be. Let It Be has to be in there, of course. And then I would include In My Life from Rubber Soul. How do you not include In My Life? Then I would include the song Love from Plastic Ono Band, which has the perfect sentiment in it. Again, that's a universal lyric. And then I close it with Calico Skies from Flaming Pie. So that would be my Mother's Day. Man, there's a lot of songs you could pick. Who else? Tony picked Julia. I thought about doing Julia. Babs did a cover of Mother. Ooh, I don't know if I want to listen to that. Speaking of Babs, yesterday I met up with my buddy Kyle Hand on the Run in New York City, and we kind of just did some record shopping, walking around. The Knicks were playing, so I wanted to kind of get the vibe of how the city felt, just to be near the Garden and everything, because back in the day I did really like the Knicks, and I haven't been this good in 30 years. Of course, the city was jam-packed, but we met up, did a little record shopping, and we walked past the Brill Building. I had never been past the Brill Building at all. Snapped a quick picture of it. So all those legendary songwriters wrote all those songs from in New York City right there. We walked by, I said, oh, Brill Building, this is cool. So yeah, I got a couple of things yesterday that I'll show in a minute at the record store, which I'm, again, always adding stuff. Susan totally agrees on If Not For You. Yay! I thought that when you listen to that, if you listen to If Not For You, My Sky Would Fall, all that, you can definitely apply that to Mother's Day. Yesterday and Let It Be, of course. I didn't think about doing Yesterday, but it certainly works. Sad song, though. We want happy, optimism stuff for the most part, except for Mother, which is that's just a sad song. Tony, ooh, good call here. Deep Blue, a George B-side, was written when his mom died. I don't know about that. Okay. Deep Blue. Yeah, another sad one. Julia, a lot of love for Julia, of course. Because the double lyric twist with that one. Flaming Pie for Cooking Stinks. Well, if you really want, you could do, if you're going to do that, you're going to take the piss out of your mom. You could be like Flaming Pie or Cook of the House, as somebody set up a lot. I think somebody said Cook of the House up here before. Yeah, James. Huh. Yeah, you could have those, like, those could be like your two tracks at the end. All right, Ma, Cook of the House and Flaming Pie. I'm ordering pizza. I Owe It All to You. Thought about that one too. That one was much more of a lovey-dovey song for a significant other, I thought. So I skipped that one. Deep Blue. Young Boy. Oh, wait a minute. I hate when that happens. Young Boy works as a message from a parent to a child. Yes, it certainly does. That's another good one. Damn, I should have had. Good call there, Mr. Ling. Mr. Hot Take Ling. I don't know who wants that battle of hot takes more, you or Jeff Slate. You got to duke it out. You guys, man. You guys make me laugh. You can interpret Tug of War as a song about child-parental relationships. I think Tug of War is the most astonishing ballad of McCartney's solo career. I like that take on it. very polarizing opinion. Think about the lyrics. In years to come, they'll just soon discover what the air we breathe about. That's a big one. If only one of them had written a song called "Go to Your Room," that would be a good mother's song. Does Owen not like Get Back? You'd have to ask him. That. Yeah, so send some more songs in if you think of it on this Mother's Day. So my goodies in the city yesterday. We went to Midtown, and great record store. Had not been to it before. Took me right back to being 8 years old. I saw these and said, I got to get them. The White Album on cassette. This was like the gift from God. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I finally got, like, his cassettes were all the rage in the 80s, right? And I think it was either for confirmation, not confirmation, something, one of them holidays. Easter, maybe. I got this as a present. And like, I remember just being like, yes, I finally have the White Album, because I didn't have it, because my dad had every American Beatle album, but the White Album. I remember going through the albums going, where's the White Album? And he's like, oh, probably left it at a party. I remember being astonished with that. I'm like, my dad's got every single Beatle record but the White Album. So when I finally had this on cassette, I was like, I have it finally. This took me right back. So I saw that and I said, I'm going to snap that up. And then I also grabbed a colored vinyl of Chaos and Creation. This is the gold Chaos and Creation. Spun this baby this morning. Plays very nice. Did a little bit of you ever play a vinyl though and it kind of wobbles like that? This did that. Didn't skip it all, but the record had a little bit of this to it. But gold. And a beauty. An absolute beauty. And it wasn't too badly priced either. This says it's a promotional copy, not for sale. I don't know how that would say that, but because this is still widely available. I checked Discogs after, and there were plenty of copies of it online. Maybe this is a promotional copy. I don't know. But slide that sucker back in. Careful. Chaos and Creation. Yes, Owen. So the 2018 repress. Then in the international pressings department, and congratulations to, I don't know if he's going to do a video on this, but in our messages, Tony shared that Beatley Tone just scored a white vinyl Let It Be, which has been one of his holy grail items. If I ruined a future video for you, Tony, I'm sorry, but that's a little spoiler, and it looks really nice. Congratulations. Jealous. That looks really nice. I picked up also this as an Italian pressing of Let It Be, which I've gotten into these foreign pressings. We all have in the last few years. So things like this, little markings on the LP that are different. No track listing here. He is doing a video. Okay, he is. But you look at, and there was a lot of great foreign copies of albums here. I just chose to get this one. Made in Italy. Italy, a great place I got to visit last year. Life-changing trip. But little things like that around the perimeter print make it a unique pressing. Really, really just like the look of everything and the labels. So yeah. We got married. That's not going to work for a Mother's Day song. Come on, Jack. What? That doesn't work. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Thank you. Let me catch back up on the comments here. This is in regards to Tony asking Owen about Get Back. I think it's lousy. A hunky chord put to faintly racist and transphobe lyrics. Oh, now, Owen, come on now. It was 1969, okay? It was 1969. Don't paint Paul with that 2025 broad stroke brush, okay? Context is everything, my friend. Agree to disagree on that one. Yeah. Really one of the best comps, and I don't think you could get it in the UK until the late 70s, as James is saying here. That's a strange, yeah. Got it around 78. That Magical Mystery Tour, you lot couldn't get that until the late 70s, right? Joe Mayo's here. Hi, Joe. We were just talking about your favorite album, Pet Sounds. But Joe has a great choice there with Only Mama Knows from Memory Almost Full. That's a great choice. Very good choice. And Joe Mayo, if you follow his channel, he scored a really holy grail item. Tony, we talked about Tony getting one. Joe got a awesome Dylan bootlegs here box. A boot, yeah, what the hell's it called again, Joe? Forget what it was called. It's like 10 albums in there. If you can tell us again, but pretty rare. And congratulations. I saw that and I'm like, I want to get that now. But it fetches for stupid amounts of money. Tony says Only Mama Knows is now a dark song. Yeah, but I would include that on a Mother's Day themed show, a playlist for sure. Yeah. Congrats, Tony. Yeah. I can't wait to see your video on that, Tony. The White Let It Be. Anybody else have one of those? Tony got Hey Jude in 76, and he thought it was a regular, if weird, album. It's one of the coolest covers, though. I mean, look at them all here. And this is like when John was really looking a little weird on the weird side here, just a little bit. George as ever with the dungarees look. Our boy there in the middle, and Ringo. Always love this. This is a great cover. And the back here, of course, at Tittenhurst, John's home at the time, which he then sold to Ringo. But yeah, George looking very much like the George on Abbey Road here with that attire. Yeah. August 22nd, 1969. The last time all four of them were together. These photos. Great photo session. 10 of Swords. Thank you. It's a Dylan vinyl bootleg box set called 10 of Swords that came out in the 80s. Yeah. Yes. Context. I don't think Paul was saying I know that there's bootlegs of hearing Paul, talking about get back and don't dig no Pakistanis taking all the people's jobs. I don't think that's what Paul meant. And I don't think it should suffer that fate. Old Brown Shoe is still a growing classic for sure. Rabbi John. Yes. Yeah, the hat and everything. It was just a weird look for him. Yes. Well, first it was an EP. It got released later, Owen, in 1976. The Capitol configuration got a UK release around 76. It was a double EP in 67, and I have one or two of them. Not original pressings, a little later. Does anyone have the Hey Jude LP with the Beatles Again title? I have that. Like it says Hey Jude on the side. I'll show you the spine of this too. That's the coolest things about these, right? You look at the spine, just a little different. Blue with the Beatles, the Hey Jude there. I've got a couple copies, right? The album says Hey Jude, but then you open up the record and you look at the label and it says the Beatles Again. So I have a few of those that are like that. To your question, yes. Paul sang about rabbis on the run too. Favorite Billy Joel album? Ooh. Turnstiles for sure. I think it's Turnstiles. Maybe Glass Houses. Yeah, the Enoch Powell stuff. You're right, Tony. Exactly. That's what Enoch Powell was spouting at the time, and I think Paul was just channeling that. Well, you can't go wrong with The Stranger. Hit after hit on that record. See, he's out and about again touring as well. I'm not going to include Mama Miss America. Come on. No way. Yeah. James, what a great track from that album. Angry Young Man. I Love These Days. For me, that's the iconic one. Just from that cover alone, Lennon and Harrison have clearly moved on from the Beatles. Oh yeah. Clearly going through the motions here at this point in time. And I love how they just threw the hat on this poor guy, this little statue guy over here. Yeah. Joking. Okay. It is awesome. For sure. But Joe, have you played any of that Dylan bootleg yet? I know you did the video, which I did watch, and it was a great story about how he learned about it in the 80s. And that came out at the same time as that Biograph, the first Dylan box set that came out around the same time. So this was probably released to compete with that. And I know my partner just saw Bob Dylan a few weeks ago, and he just kind of checked the box, but it was awesome. He said it was awesome. But I'm very curious to see what that fetches for now. Let's see. Oh, this is a cool connection here. Denny Sywell played on Cold Spring Harbor. I think it's Cold Spring Harbor. That actually, now that you mention that, I think Cold Spring Harbor is my favorite album. That was Billy Joel totally trying to be the Beatles when you listen to that record. Falling of the Rain, Everybody Loves You Now, which is a song he brought back. Yeah, I'm going to retract that. Cold Spring Harbor is my favorite Billy Joel album, followed up by Turnstiles. Thank you, James Boyce, for bringing that back into my consciousness there. He was definitely channeling Paul. I mean, even the look, he had the long hair and the mustache. Billy was totally channeling Paul there. But I love that. Captain Jack is on Piano Man. Billy Joel and Paul singing, What Did I Say? Yeah. Yeah, I got to see them, man. Citi Field and the last play at Shea. Magic. A great story about Paul landing. The limo driver basically just got him right to Shea at the end of the concert to do the encore. Awesome. Stranger, yeah. I didn't think that new song, to Turn the Lights Back On, was good, but he needs more. He needs more than that. He needs an album. Don't Ask Me Why. It's very Paul. That's a good take, Serge. That's such a great Paul song. I love the live version of it too. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. The live version, the best. Elton and Billy together when I was 18. Those are good shows, but you kind of get cheated then. You get cheated because you're getting half an Elton show and a half a Billy show. If you can go see them separately, well, you can't see Elton anymore. You get more. If that was the next album after Let It Be, it would be great. James Byers. Hello, sir. Welcome here to the Sunday Family Live Show on this Mother's Day. Doing well, thank you. Going to go see my mom later. Happy to see her. And my brother and his family. But in regards to Paul, I think we're wondering now, it's May. So a summer tour is completely off the table. And really, I was talking to David Gargolino about this. If we don't hear anything by, say, mid to late June, a fall tour is going to be off the table here in the U.S. Because those venues, I would love for Paul to come back in the fall and play smaller arenas. Like go back and play the Prudential Center in Newark. That's like a 20,000. Play Madison Square Garden. Paul hasn't played at MSG since 2005. How about Paul back at Madison Square Garden in the fall of 2025? Let's sign up for that right now. But I just don't know if it's coming. To see Paul at the Garden would be awesome again. Because I only saw him there once in 2002. I could not go in 2005. I've seen him a lot since then, but I would love for Paul to play MSG again. Especially now that it's been all redone and it's been modernized and it's improved and There's plenty of there's plenty of bathrooms, and there's plenty of. It's not the old Garden. Can you imagine that? I mean, just yesterday, I think just to walk in the door to see the Knicks play, even sitting up top, it was going to be $800 to see. So it would be quite expensive to see Paul, I'm sure, at Madison Square Garden. We'd be watching him from way up top. Not like England in the second row or even the Bowery. But it would be so cool to see Paul at the Garden again. But I have to think that we need to hear something probably within the next 6 weeks for one of those fall tours. I did see Paul in the fall of 2017 in Newark, and that was a fantastic show. I was sitting kind of on the side looking at the stage this way. So I was basically on Rusty's side looking in above. Very great show. Great show. Another one. Yeah, 52nd Street. Zanzibar. I love Zanzibar. There's a song about a mom on that one. Rosalinda's Eyes, which is about Billy's mom. Yep. James Boyce. Nylon Curtain. Another. Oh, yeah, yes. Now, there's a song on there called Laura, which Billy has said he's basically channeling John Lennon. And if you listen to that song, it's very Beatle-y. In fact, listen to it on the 12 Gardens Live album. It's even better than the one on the Nylon Curtain. And that actually, yeah, another one. Goodnight Saigon, Allentown. Great record. Came out, and I think that was really the first one post John's death too. So you had a lot of those artists were doing stuff to pay tribute to John. Paul Simon, late great Johnny Ace. Right around that time, 81, 82, this is what was happening. But good one there, James. Good one. Laura. Hey, it's Mother's Day, Laura. You're all good. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on today, and I don't expect everybody to be here on a Mother's Day, which is fine. So in the this is coming this week department, of course, because there's always something coming. And I'll just tell you now, I'm not going to keep you in suspense because I've already left you in suspense about what's going to go over there. I pulled the trigger this week on the Uber Flaming Pie archive set, the big one. We were talking about it, I think, last week, and I said, I've got to get this. I looked. I did not pay what it's going for. I got it for a bargain. So that's coming this week. So I'm really excited to get that because it's huge. It's like twice the size of the other ones. So, and I think Susan Gagney has one. How do you store it? Like, how do you put it with the rest of your archive boxes? And how would you display it? So the Uber Super Deluxe Flaming Pie box set is arriving this week. So I'm really, really excited to see what that looks like. 100 Mile Groove. Hi, Andy. Patrick from Australia. Another friend down under. Hello, sir. Thanks for being here today. Tony, I'd love to see Paul in MSG. If this is the year, I'm stuck. For your sake, Tony, let's hope he does not play Madison Square Garden because Beatley Tone is coming to America. Him and Mrs. Beatley Tone will be at the Chicago Fest in August, and I cannot wait. What an extension of the Liverpool family that's going to be here stateside. Almost. We're going to be missing our son Boyo, but he's coming over later in the year. But that's going to be nearly a Liverpool reunion with the addition of our latest adopted son, Kyle Hand, on the run into that group. So, yeah, I cannot wait for Chicago. So, for your sake, Tony, I hope that he does not come and play Madison Square Garden. James Byers has been to New York twice and have walked past the Garden. Never been inside, but I would have liked to have seen some old school wrestling shows there. And boy, were they iconic. I went to a couple of them in the 90s. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair at the old Madison Square Garden in the early 90s. Nothing like it. Dark, dank, but you didn't care. It was just old school. Awesome. And it's so convenient for us here in this area. We just hop on the train, you get off, and you're there. Phil Ramone Productions. Yeah, the video is cool, but I know, and he hates singing the song too. The Tombstone, is that what you're calling it? I knew you had it, Susan. Yours is in the cellar. Okay. The cellar, that's such an old school word. I love that. The Tombstone. So we have all the, we have the cube, we have a tombstone, we have the 7-inch singles box, we have the suitcase. Now we have a tombstone. Where the hell am I going to put that in here? I don't know. Maybe I'll try to sandwich it in between the picture of the MVP and off the ground back there. Maybe I can put it up there. Yeah, but it's coming this week from the same place I got the Flowers in the Dirt. Listen to me, Flowers in the Dirt promo box, the one that was missing for 2 months because of the shipping. No, David, this is not going to you. Rockaway Records has my address, so that should be coming this week. I'm tracking that sucker, so it will arrive in due time. Ollie says, I find the pop-up shows of about 20 songs a set are more often satisfying than the whole stadium shows. Yes, agree with that. The Flaming Pie Archive box was my first Paul box set. Remains, well, that really is one of the best ones. You've got the club sandwich reproduced in there, the pictures, the lyrics being reproduced in the little book. Yes, agree, Serge. Agree with you. No more, no Swifty type arenas, no more. Small stuff. Oasis is coming here to this area this summer. I don't think I'm going to go to that. Amateur night. When you go to those concerts at MetLife, you got to get there 5 hours ahead of time. Then it takes 3 hours to leave because it's just a nightmare. And you're there with 40,000 people who are just there. I want to go see Paul McCartney, and they're blasted out of their minds, and you cannot enjoy the concert experience when you're with 65,000 other people. That's why Manchester was so special. And I realized that the Co-op is the largest arena in the UK for performance, but to me, it felt intimate. Having seen Paul in big places for a while, that felt intimate. And then we got 2 months later, the Bowery, which forget about it. We can't even put that into words, how special it was. You're going to need a bigger boat. Channeling Jaws. I love it. Yes. Yeah, it was like, wow, brill building. Pick. Done. See if I can show it here real quick. If it comes up on camera. That's the garden. There it is. There's the Brill building. Very cool. Very iconic. Tony is excited to see Tony at the fest. Tony, meet Tony. Brad, our resident hoops guru. We got the copyright guru. We got a basketball guy. Louisville got to play in Madison Square Garden a lot when they weren't in the Big East, but those Big East tournaments were at the University of Louisville, Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Pitt were still in there. Yes. Well, we won't know about that for a while yet. Hopefully, yes. Susan, my house is way too small to have it upstairs. And I use old school terms because as of this week, I'm even older than the Pope. I love it. James Boyce would like to see Paul do an outdoor show in the UK so I can walk away from. Yes. Please. Enough of them. Talked about that at the top of the show, James. You might have missed it. I will be going to at least one show, maybe two. Definitely the Garden on the 30th and maybe the Prudential Center on the 19th. But yes, I am going. Absolutely. Oh, Tony. Bowery poster has been framed, picking it up this week. Oh, please send a picture of that thing, please. Mine's framed too. It's just not in this room. It's in the other room. Can't wait to see that, Tony. Yeah. Susan seconds. Yes, of course. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And it ruins the concert experience. It really does. Oh, we got our other guy. There's our buddy Ryan. He got his framed as well. What's up, Ryan? Thanks for being here today. Yeah. And I know that happened back in the day, but things were different back then. Things were different back then. It didn't cost as much, although context is everything, right? Ticket prices and stuff. I'm sure there were drunks and people stoned out of their minds in the 70s too, that people had to deal with. It's always been a thing. It just seems worse now. Think Paul will do any small venues to promote his new album? Well, if history teaches us anything, that's kind of what he does. So I think that will happen. Got Ringo next month as well at Radio City. Just walked past that yesterday. At what age did I get the Imagine album? Well, I got it on CD probably when I was about 13. Probably 13 years old, something like that. Joe Mantaneo popping in. It's a beauty. Love the mashups. Freelance Hellraiser. This is I'm not sure what the guy's real name is, but as we talked about before, you listen to those mashups, takes you right back into concert mode of getting ready and getting amped to see Paul whenever you hear that stuff. If I want to relive Paul concert experiences, I'll just put that sucker on. Score. James says his brother has stopped going to gigs. Yeah. Best thing about the Bowery, no phones. Do I wish I had some videos and pictures of it? Damn, I do. But it's up here forever. And everybody who went to those 3 shows feels the same way. Catch back up here. Yes. Thanks for being here, Joe, and happy Mother's Day again to everybody out there. Owen's glad that Zach is back in the fold. If this is the last big tour, then he should be there. He's worked with them longer than Moon ever did. Yes, and of course he met Moon, so it was the perfect person to fill the void for them for 30 years. I'm really glad that Pete squashed that whole thing. You play one song for the first time live ever, and it doesn't go smoothly. And now you're gonna just fire the guy? Come on, Raj. Pete. Or I think maybe Ringo stepped in and said, you two are going to fire my kid? I think not. I would love if the story ever got out that a Beatle persuaded the Who to keep Zach in there. That would be awesome. I don't think we're ever going to know that. I don't think it happened, but I mean, it might have. It might have. He saw them in 96. I wish I saw. I was too young then to go. You saw them do Quadrophenia in 96. I knew about that tour. Trying to get tickets when you're 15 for a concert in the Madison Square Garden wasn't happening. I was lucky I had a few bucks to buy a record, not alone. My first concert wasn't until 1998 when I was 17, when I saw Yes for $40 on lawn seats. Roger Daltrey has amazing voice control. He probably sounds the best out of all the 60s guys still doing it, with the possible exception being Tom Jones. Roger's voice is going. And listen, we've gotten into that whole Paul voice thing enough. And I think they use some technology now live to help these guys get through it. And I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. If they're using technology to help them sing in a live performance, great. Ringo will be doing an outdoor show in September. I don't know how it fits in. All right, they'll keep us posted, Brad. Coming up with yes. That pairing up of those 2 tracks, awesome, Serge. I'm officially a grumpy old sod. Are you an odds and sods? Outdoor gigs. Girlfriend sitting on shoulders of giants right in front of me is my pet peeve. Funny when people behind lob plastic cups full of beer at them. Yeah, get out of my way. That's the problem with outdoor gigs. I want to go see the star. And this girl, she's probably drunk. She's half naked, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But you want to enjoy the show. Just nudge them. Or just do what I did at the Bowery when they were mosh pitting us. I just went like this and said, not here. Get out of here. This is our area. Stop your mosh pitting. It's Paul McCartney. Cut the shit out. Same feelings regarding the Bowery. Exactly. You were forced to soak it in for real. 100%. MVP says, we were very much in the moment at the Bowery and were able to take it all in and appreciate every second with no distractions. Awesome. Yes, memories forever, never to be forgotten. Never. Oh, Colin Blunstone still has it. What a gem of a singer he is. Met him and Rod Argent in 2015 when they made that comeback album, Still Got That Hunger, which is a great record, by the way. I love that record. I had gone to a Q&A. I had won a lottery ticket to go and got to go to a listening party, which I went to with my dad and met Colin Blunstone and Rod Argent of the Zombies. What a nice guy. I remember saying I really liked their song. Was it Inside Out? Anyway, I said it, and Colin did a double take and goes, "Oh, you know that record? Bro, Breathe In, Breathe Out." That was the record I said, which I kind of like. And I remember I said that to him, shook his hand. He goes, "You like that record?" I said, "Yes, I like that record. Thank you." Good stuff from the Zombies. Haven't seen a concert this year. Hope Ringo returns to Chicago. He might. There's the Hand on the run. Happy Mother's Day to your mom, Mr. Hand. If you check our socials out later, you'll see a little quick video that he and I did showing what the records we got. I'll give you a little hint. He didn't get any Beatles records yesterday. Tisk, tisk. I wonder if the Who retirement has been brewing a while. Perhaps that's the reason Zach isn't doing the Oasis gig. Maybe, James. So the Zombies live in 2012. Very cool. Yes. Those guys were out of control. I'm like, you're watching an 82-year-old man sing. This is not Megadeth or Metallica or any of that crap. Please have some courtesy. You want to have a good time and you're playing. I remember Joan was behind us and she didn't even stay. She's like, I ain't staying around for this. And she left. Once upon a long time ago, the concert experience could only live in your memory. You had to stay in the moment and concentrate and listen. Yes. Preach. Ali asks, I'm not sure if you answered this before, but before you went to Manchester in December, you wanted both Wonderful Christmas Time and Mull of Kintyre. Were you very disappointed on No Mull? A little bit, but not really when you think about the whole experience of being in England and seeing him twice in that same venue. One night, 25 rows back, and then the next night in the second row. Mull of Kintyre with the whole bagpipe thing would have been fantastic. But I think even to put Wonderful Christmas Time together, the logistics that probably Paul's team had to reach out with, the local school kids dance academies and stuff like that, probably was enough work for him to do that. And to orchestrate Mull of Kintyre at 82 was probably just too much moving parts. So it was going to be one or the other. Because it was December, I'm happy that we got Wonderful Christmas Time. The festival that Ringo is playing is Bourbon and Beyond. I keep tempting Tom to come down for it. Check it out. Bourbon and Beyond. So that's a cool festival. I wonder if it'll be like a shortened show. It might be. It would be nice if Paul's tour photographer had his pics of each show available to download. Well, that would be MJ Kim, who I learned who that was through people like Joan and James Liverani. That's the guy. And you saw some pictures of that stuff out there, but not a lot. That's okay. You got two great records. He got a Dylan one. So, but you can see what he got later when the video goes up. Owen says, I don't think it was ever offered to him. This is about Oasis and the drumming. Noel always wanted Chris Sharrock from day one, but compromised with Zach when the former wasn't available. Okay. Tie Your Mother Down. Not a good song. Not a good song, not a good Mother's Day song. James saw Colin in December and he sounded pretty good. Owen interviewed Colin in 2021. Lovely man. James has not heard Mull of Kintyre live sung since 1979, which is a shame. Only Paul could leave his best-selling UK song out of his set list. Well, he only plays it certain times. Jackson. Hello, hello. Doing well. Been on for about an hour and probably going to start winding it down soon on this Mother's Day so we can let everybody get to their Mother's Day festivities. So we'll cut it a little bit shorter than usual today, I think, seeing that we've been on for an hour already. Thankfully, Ringo was well beyond having any bourbon. Yeah. James has a photo of MJ Kim from Paul's show in Verona on his wall. Great photographer. Good stuff. But I do think that would be great. Like if you could even if you could purchase the photos of a gig you went to, why not? Why not make it available? Oh, I heard about this. My friend Adrian Sinclair messaged me this on WhatsApp this week. They are restoring the pilot episode of Thomas the Tank Engine in honor of the 80th anniversary of the first book. So you'll hear Ringo again. And if you didn't know, he did Thomas the Tank Engine in the 80s when he was trying to clean up. Yeah. Not high on the list of things to watch or do. It's already up on YouTube. There you go. So, yes, Roy Thomas Baker did pass away a few weeks ago. I think we can start winding it down. If anybody has any last questions or comments to make, I will begin to wind down the show on this Mother's Day. And we'll be back again next week, too. So, tomorrow night, Hands Across the Water, 6 p.m., me, Tony, and Kyle doing a live show where we're going to rank some John Lennon stuff. Kyle, if you're here, please chime in and tell everybody what we're doing tomorrow night. I forget. If you're still here, buddy, in the comments, because people were asking. I think we said we're doing the tiered thing, but I forget. Before we hang it up, please. And we'll have a new show for Two Legs as well next week. That might be with an author. It might just be me and Tom. We are going to do, actually, I can tell you this now before we hang up. Before we hang up. Oh, that's what we're going to do. We are going to tier list the stuff, but we're going to do box sets. Right. Thank you. We talked about a lot of stuff yesterday, me and Kyle, for shows. We're going to rank Beatles box sets on Hands Across the Water. That's what we're going to do. Real quick, though, for Two Legs, we are going to pick a couple of songs out of the lyrics book, which you can see right back there. And we're going to do a deep dive on what Paul has to say about certain songs. We're going to pick probably one Beatles song and one solo song each. Tom will pick two. I'll pick two. So that's probably going to be the next episode of Two Legs as well for next week. We'll do some freeform questions from the floor too. Yes, ranking Beatles box sets from the beginning all the way to the present day. That's what we're going to be doing. So, yes, the Mother's Day picks. Go back. Make a Mother's Day playlist of songs today. If you're going to see your mom, make a playlist of Beatles and solo music that you think would inspire you, makes you think of your mom, if you can do that. So, on behalf of everybody here, Joe Mantaneo, Kyle Hand, Serge. Nice. Serge isn't here every Sunday. Brad, Beatley Tone, the MVP. Ryan, Joe Mantaneo, Tony D, Owen Ling, Susan Gagney, James Boyce, James Martinez, my friend 100 Mile Groove from Australia, Laura. Who else? Joe Mayo, of course, was here. Think that's pretty much Chris Hahn, Jeffrey, of course, mom and dad were here, Dale, Jimmy Rudolphison, thank you again, Dale Buffont. I think that is it. If I've missed you, Jack Sutton, who was here earlier for some good questions, thank you. We'll be signing off on this Mother's Day, 2025. So, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your Mother's Day here in the U.S., because Mother's Day was in the UK it was a month ago. So happy Mother's Day to everybody in the UK too, even though it's not celebrated today. Thank you, everybody. Owen Ling, I'll be back with hot takes, context included. Please. Yes, context is always good. Thanks for being here, Sunday fam. We'll be back next Sunday, and we'll see you then. Take care.